Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devem Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastapayesva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, we offer our respectful obeisance to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan and to Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance of the classes of the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is nearly completely destroyed, and loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established within the heart as an irrevocable fact. We are reading from the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 9, the appearance of the demon Vitrasura, text 40. The Sanskrit is in prose, so I will read the translation and Srila Prabhupada's purport. O Lord, O personified three worlds, Father of the three worlds, O strength of the three worlds in the form of the Vaman incarnation, O three-eyed form of Nrsimhadev, O most beautiful person within the three worlds. Everything and everyone, included human beings, and even the Daitya demons and the Danavas, is but an expansion of your energy. O supremely powerful, you have always appeared in your forms of the various incarnations to punish the demons as soon as they become very powerful. You appear as Lord Vamandev, Lord Ram and Lord Krishna. You appear sometimes as an animal like Lord Boar, sometimes a mixed incarnation like Lord Nrsimhadev and Lord Hayagriva, and sometimes an aquatic like Lord Fish and Lord Tortoise. Assuming such various forms, you have always punished the demons and Danavas. We therefore pray that your Lordship appear today as another incarnation, if you so desire, to kill the great demon Vitrasura. Commentary by Abhay Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. There are two kinds of devotees, known as Sakam and Akam. Pure devotees are Akam, where devotees in the upper planetary systems, such as the demigods, are called Sakam, because they still want to enjoy material opulence. Because of their pious activities, the Sakam devotees are promoted to the higher planetary systems, but at heart they still desire to lord it over the material resources. The Sakam devotees are sometimes disturbed by the demons and Rakshasas, but the Lord is so kind that He always saves them by appearing as an incarnation. The Lord's incarnations are so powerful that Lord Vamandev covered the entire universe with 2 steps, and therefore had no place for his third step. The Lord is called Trivikram because he showed his strength by delivering the entire universe with merely 3 steps. The difference between Sakam and Akam devotees is that when Sakam devotees like the demigods fall into difficulty, they approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead for relief, whereas Akam devotees, even in the greatest danger, never disturb the Lord for material benefits. Even if an Akam devotee is suffering, he thinks this is due to my past impious activities and agrees to suffer the consequences. He never disturbs the Lord. Sakam devotees immediately pray to the Lord as soon as they are in difficulty, but they are regarded as pious because they consider themselves fully dependent on the mercy of the Lord. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.8. Tatena kampam susamikshamano bunjat maivatmakitam vipakam ritvakva purber fidada namaste shivetyo muktipade sadayampa. Even while suffering in the midst of difficulties, devotees simply offer their prayers and service more enthusiastically. In this way, they become firmly fixed in devotional service and eligible to return home, back to Godhead, without a doubt. Sakam devotees, of course, achieve from the Lord the results they desire from their prayers, but they do not immediately become fit to return to Godhead. It is to be noted herein that Lord Krishna in his various incarnations is always the protector of his devotees. Srila Madhvacharya says, Vividam Bhava Patra Vatsarva Vishnu Vibhuttaya. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam. All the other incarnations proceed from Lord Krishna. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Janam Janashakam Shakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptim Yena Bhutale Shyamrupagadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandhyam Shiyo Padakamalam Shigam Vaishnavam Sha Shirupam Jagajatam Sagan Ragnatam Tam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Sabaduttam Parijan Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakanalita Shivshakam Vitam Sha He Krishna Guna Sinudina Banutya Kopesha Koprakanta Radha Kanta Namaskati Tapta Kansana Gauri Radhe Vrindavanashve Vishabhanu Sutadevi Panama Hipri Pankha Kalpa Visha Kripa Sindhu Visha Patanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sati Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pachari Nirvishesha Srinyapadi Paskachari Tejotane Srila Prabhupada Ki. So, here, Lord Indra, he made a great mistake that in the Bhagavatam, Lord Indra makes many mistakes. But this is Krishna's arrangement. Lord Indra is teaching us it's given us lessons. And by that it becomes very famous because it's in many places in the Bhagavatam. So we should not find fault with Indra for this. Many times we can say what's the greatness of a person. The greatness of a person is how one responds to situations such as fear, temptations. We can study the reaction of the person and then understand the greatness that so Vishvarup was the head priest during the sacrifice for Lord Vishnu. It was a sacrifice he conducted on behalf and for the benefit of the demigods. But Vishvarup, his background was from two sides. He had relatives amongst the demigods, but a part of his family was coming from the demons. So we can say he was partial to both the demigods and the demons. So he was offering oblations in the fire, Svaha, on behalf of the demigods. But then secretly and silently he was also offering oblations for the benefit of the demons. And then Indra, he got to know this. And Indra became very fearful that these demons would become too powerful. So he acted out of fear. And he made a mistake of beheading the 3 heads of Vishvarup. It's a mistake. Instead of acting out of fear, he should have acted to obtain the goal of life, that love for Krishna. And to obtain that goal of love of Godhead, that one must learn to tolerate disturbances and tolerate temptations. But here, how did Indra respond? How did he respond to fear? With anger. So this anger covers our intelligence. It's like lust, which is not fulfilled, one feels frustration. It covers one's intelligence. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada makes the difference between Sakam devotees and Akam devotees. Sakam devotees are the demigods. And we see here they are praying for protection. But the pure devotees, they are not praying for protection. They see everything what happens in their lives as a reaction of their own past misdeeds. And they think, yes, I'm a responsible person. I did wrong in the past and now I get a punishment. I accept it. And Krishna is so kind. He gives me only a part of the reactions. And the verse, the famous verse, Tateno Kampam Sasamekshama Mano, which is quoted in the purport here. It says in the last line, Shivetiyo Muktipadesh Dayabhak. If one just tolerates and receives the reactions of one's past misdeeds, then one is ready, it is one's rightful claim for liberation. So Sakam and Akam. The demigods are Sakam devotees. And they are very powerful. They are the controllers of the universe, of the material energies. Very powerful. But they have still this desire to control. And that covers their intelligence. It said, Avitam Jnanam Etena Jnanina. It's Krishna says Kama Isha Gode Isha Rajaguna Samudbhavam Asnama Papno Vityam Yavarnam. Lust is the greatest enemy, because what's the effect of lust? It's Avitam Jnanam Etena Jnana Nityavarna Kamrupena Kauntya Tuspranana Lenacha. It covers one's intelligence, and one starts running after fulfilling these material desires and is never fulfilled. It makes one identify with the body. It's the creator of false ego. And we see in the beginning of the 10th canto, that's Bhumi, the earth, is overburdened by these Kshatriyas who want just to enjoy that and exploit. And she's going to Lord Brahma to complain. And Lord Brahma says, yes, we should go to the milk ocean, to Svetatwip, with all the demigods, and pray to the Supreme Lord for a solution. So all the demigods go to Svetatwip. They are at the beach of the milk ocean, praying. But we see it's only Brahma who can get in contact, who has transcendental contact with Kshirodakashari Vishnu, who is far. They can't see him from the beach. He's in the middle of this milk ocean, on the bed of Anantashesh, and Lakshmi is massaging his lotus feet. But it's only Lord Brahma, who is a pure devotee, who is in contact with Kshirodakashari Vishnu. And there's a communication, he gets a message. That the message is, yes, I will soon appear as an incarnation. I will soon appear. And he instructs all the demigods to take birth in the Yadu dynasty. But it's only Lord Brahma, who is a pure devotee, who is Akam, who has contact. So that means the slightest material desire we have, no direct contact. Because these demigods, they take birth in the Yadu dynasty. And but they are all living in Dwarka, it's Krishna's family, Yadu dynasty. But it are the same demigods. And how do they see Krishna? They say Krishna is the all-pervading super soul. Because they know only Kshirodakashari Vishnu, the supreme. But in Dwarka you have also Uddhav. Uddhav is a pure devotee. And Uddhav, sometimes in Dwarka you have a hill there, and when over the hill the rainy clouds come, these rainy clouds, they have the complexion of Krishna's body. And when Uddhav, I think it's the Vaivarata hill, the clouds come over. And when Uddhav sees these clouds, he remembers Krishna and he becomes in ecstasy and he started to dance like a madman. And all these residents of all these yadus, they think this Uddhav is a little mad. But Uddhav, he feels sorry. He feels sorry for all these yadus. Because he thinks these yadus, they are just like fish in the water. A fish in the water cannot recognize what the moon is, although the moonshine is there, but it cannot recognize what the moon is. So Uddhav thinks, yes, these yadus, they are living amongst they have the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, but they cannot understand who Krishna is. Very interesting. That's the effect. Avatam Jnanam Etina. Only Brahma could come in contact with Kshirotakashaya Vishnu. And that contact is made through pure consciousness. In the 4th canto, Lord Shiva explains to Mother Parvati, Krishna consciousness is pure consciousness. It's pure consciousness in which the Lord is manifested within the heart without any covering. Do we realize Krishna is in our heart? That mostly we forget that. But cultivating Krishna consciousness means having always this consideration. Krishna is all pervading, and is Maya Yakshana Prakriti. He has the remote control over material nature. My heart is beating. Who makes my heart beating? Who has control about this heartbeat here? Do we think that our heart is constantly beating since birth, and when it stops, we die? Who makes it beating? You miss one beat, it's called heart attack. It's Krishna who makes our heart beat. After the class, we will take prasadam, and then digestion. How does it go? Who has control over his digestion? If it doesn't happen, you are in trouble. That's Krishna says more. In Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya Samridishana Vishnu Mata Shmitihanamba Pahamsa. Everything you remember is given by Krishna. Everything you forget is organized by Krishna. Everything you know, that's coming from Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada in the purport points out we have to strive to become akam, pure devotees. There are 2 levels of pure devotees. Someone asked Srila Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there in ISKCON? Srila Prabhupada looked at his secretary and said, how many devotees do we have now in ISKCON? So he considered all the devotees pure devotees. Does that mean their heart was pure? Not really. but you have two levels. You have those who are acting on the level of pure devotion, and you have those whose heart is pure, that acting on the level of pure devotees means acting on the liberated platform, means acting as a spirit soul, factually. That in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu it said, Iya yasya arer dasye karmana manasagiri nikalesh apyavasta sujivan mukta sauchate. It said, one who engages in transcendental devotional service and uses his body, mind and words, he should be considered liberated in all conditions of material existence. Because you act on the liberated platform. That there is you act on a liberated platform if you act with the motivation just to please the spiritual master and nothing else. And that's very powerful. Srila Prabhupada spread Krishna consciousness in 11 years all over the world. But that could be done because all his followers, they were very dedicated to his mission. In the beginning in America, joining the movement meant you give away all your possessions and you join the temple. If you were living out the temple, you were in Maya. That's not allowed. That's in the temple, you engage in whatever they ask you to do. Book distribution, Harinam, that was complete surrender. And that was the power. We speak about the Hare Krishna explosion in the 70s. But that was the power behind that. So, this pure motivation, Anya Bilasa Sunyam Jnana Karmata Navitam Anukulyena Krishnanu Silnam Bhaktir Uttama. Just to please Krishna, no material motivation. That to please Krishna favorably. So, but if we act out of material desire, we are in trouble. That's the soul, the spirit soul. Krishna says in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, is active, cannot be inactive. How does the soul act? The soul acts by desiring. That material desire, Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita, is a subtle form of being conditioned. So, if we desire materially, it's a kind of prayer to the Lord. Desire is a prayer. Krishna notices our desires, and he fulfills our desires according to what we deserve. So it's very important to observe our desires, because if we desire material benefits, we have Anya Bilasa Sunyam, Jnana Karma Anavita. Jnana and karma means fruits, enjoying for the body. And the jnanis, they want liberation. That's also material desire. So, this if we act upon these material desires and we maintain these material desires, then factually we are praying for birth and death. It's very hard to realize that. That's what we are praying for. Therefore, we need to remove them from the heart. In the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, we have Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is in Harivarsha. It's a part of Jambudvip. He's there now and he's praying to the Lord. He's worshipping the deity of Lord Nrsimhadev, and then he's offering 2 prayers. And the first prayer is Namaste Narasimhama. Namaste Asya Virvava Vachnaka Vachadamsta Karmasam Randaya Tamoga Sarasa Abhayamatni Vyusti Am Kshram. He's praying to Lord Nrsimhadev. You have this formidable sharp nails. Now, conduct the operation, the surgery, and go into my heart and take away all these material desires, all this lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, envy. Take it away from my heart, my Lord. In the purport of that verse, Srila Prabhupada, he writes, a devotee should learn to pray like this, to take away this attachment and aversion that because if we desire and we become attached to things in this world or averse to these things, it's a problem. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 3:34, Indriyas yarte ragadvaisha vyavastita tayor navasamagachat tayasya paripantino. It says, this attachment and aversion, they are stumbling blocks on the path of devotion. We must get rid of that. But what's the solution given in this verse is regulation. Regulation, that so that we do not come under control of them. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes about sex desire. What's the regulation for sex desire? It's marriage. Everyone should get married who has these strong desires. It will be regulated. But Srila Prabhupada writes in the Prabhupada, good but not perfect. That it's not perfect, but because even if a man is married, he may become attracted also to other women, and this tendency has to be curbed. It's good, but not perfect. So this awareness we have to cultivate. That because in the 3rd canto of the Bhagavatam, 25, what Kapila says to Mother Devata, Pashangamacham Pasham Atmano Kavyo Vidum Sai Sadasukrito Moksadvaram Apavitam. He says, attachment that we have to things in this world is a cause of entanglement in this world. And we see how these demigods become entangled. That was the result of their tendency to control. Their facilities 1,000 times more for enjoyment than we have with them. they get in problems. Vitrasura appears, so many things in the Bhagavatam. So they become entangled. And we become also entangled by this attachment. But instead of cultivating that attachment, we should create attachment to the sadhu, to the spiritual master, to the instructions of the spiritual master. Vyavsatmika buddhi, taking the instructions of the spiritual master, the mission of the spiritual master as one's life and soul, and dedicates one's body, mind and words completely to that mission. And then we will very quickly get out of this entanglement. Because I want to connect this now to a deeper understanding of our real self. It's good to hear this philosophy, but what is factually what's going on? That we are not this body. We belong to the spiritual world. That's our home. Somewhere or another, we have cultivated this subtle and gross body. You see this hand? This is a gross hand. Under this gross hand there is a subtle hand of the subtle body, a mental hand. And below this mental hand there is a spiritual hand, the spiritual self, the spiritual body. That's our real body, our real self. So we know we have a subtle body. Sometimes people, they get a near-death experience. They get an operation, and suddenly, during the operation, they are at the ceiling. And they can see the operation theater. They can hear what the doctor says to the nurses. They can see the signs and the letters on the lamp on the ceiling. How can they see? How can they hear? The body is still on the operation table. This is a subtle body. It means the subtle body has ears. The subtle body has eyes, and more powerful eyes than the gross eyes. They can see 360 degrees. But below that is the spiritual body. So then the point is, why did we create this subtle and gross body? The spiritual body can only be used for one purpose, and that's devotional service. From the moment you want to use this spiritual body for a selfish purpose, I and mine, it's not possible. You cannot use the spiritual body for that. Then we create a subtle and a gross body. In the purports of the verses 174, 175, 176, these are the realizations of Srila Vyasadeva, of meditating on the Absolute Truth. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, The spirit soul has its own intelligence, has its own thinking, feeling and willing. But from the moment we act selfish, we create a subtle and a gross body. And the consciousness, which is coming from the spirit soul, is projected in this gross and subtle body. And it's projected there because of our separatist mentality, by absorption in duality. And this duality is here described in Bhagavad Gita as attachment and aversion. Attachment and aversion. King Indra was acting out of attachment and aversion. He became fearful that someone will take over his position. He became fearful to be defeated by the demons. That he was averse to that. Attachment and aversion. That's material existence. And this attachment and aversion creates and fortifies this absorption in the subtle and the gross body. And it makes the identification more solid. It fortifies the false ego of I and mine. Now, how did we create this situation? It started with meditation on enjoyment, selfish acts of exploitation. If we meditate on things in this world, we become attached. Dayato visyapam samsanga stage vajayate, sanga sayate kama kama koda vijayate. That's a process of fall down, described in Bhagavad Gita. So how do we get our consciousness again from the subtle and gross body into the spiritual body? That's the process of Krishna consciousness. Gets our consciousness back into the spiritual self by devotional service. And then we forget about this gross and subtle body. If we become purified, we start to act again through the spiritual body, serving with the spiritual body. It's a very deep philosophy. It's not easy to grasp, but it's necessary we understand it. In 96, I was with my spiritual master, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, in Mayapur, and we went on parikram. At the beginning of the parikram, he said, now you have arrived in the spiritual world. You have arrived in the spiritual world. Don't come down again with your consciousness. Always hear about Krishna, hear the pastime, chant, and remain in spiritual consciousness. So that's our business. To always remain in this spiritual consciousness. And acting in devotional service is acting as our real self. And if one attains stages like bhav of prema, then the awareness of this subtle and gross body, it's not there anymore. And Krishna maintains it one way or another. But that's our business. That's the meaning of going internal for us. That going internal does not mean only physically internal, but it's creating a vision of Krishna consciousness every moment. See the spiritual qualities in others. That understanding, knowledge, Krishna says, is understanding the difference between matter and spirit. That seeing the spirits in everything. In this world we have the kshetra and the kshetra, 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There's a mixture of that. It's a shift of consciousness. And how do we get rid of this subtle and this gross body? The same process. It starts with meditation, but we don't meditate on things in this world. We meditate on spiritual things, and that purifies us. And what are the spiritual objects we meditate on? It's the deities, it's Krishna's holy name, it's the Bhagavatam, that prasadam, it's a transcendental meditation, should be taken in transcendental consciousness. So that's the process of sadhana bhakti. It's meditating on the spiritual objects. So, how do we purify the mind? By chanting Hare Krishna, by hearing the Bhagavatam, that the mind becomes spiritualized. How the mind becomes spiritualized? By meditation on Krishna. Have Krishna in your mind. How do we purify the intelligence? By hearing Bhagavad Gita, by hearing the Bhagavatam. By that the intelligence becomes purified. If the mind is completely spiritualized, the material mind ceases to exist. And the thinking, feeling, willing is again done by into the spiritual body. And how do we do we purify the intelligence? By hearing transcendental knowledge and by really getting realizations. And when the intelligence is purified and the mind is purified, then the false ego stops to exist. The sense of a separate I and mind from Krishna, it's gone. And that's called Jivan Mukta, liberated. So if we act in that way, then we act to obtain the goal of life. But Indra forgot about this. He was submerged in this duality. And he wanted to retain, to preserve his position as the controller, as a powerful controller. And that tendency is in the heart of all of us. We need to get rid of that. So here, so many things we can learn from this verse. That the demigods, they pray for protection. But a devotee, a pure devotee, that he does not pray for protection for his own benefit. That like we have in Vrindavan, when Indra was sending some Vartaka clouds, the clouds of annihilation, to cause destruction of Vrindavan. He wanted to kill all this residents of Vrindavan because they neglected his puja, his worship. That when this devastating rainfall started to fall, then we had the cowherd boys, especially the elder cowherd boys, they were praying to Krishna, please save us. And he said, please save the cows, save the cows. Krishna, save the cows. And while you save the cows, save also us. But first the cows, because they knew the cows were very dear to Krishna. They wanted to please Krishna, that's all. For a devotee, leaving this body is not a big deal. We have to leave it anyway. And if Krishna creates a situation in which we have to leave the body, fine. And we will see further in the next chapter, to kill this Vitrasura. Finally, Lord Krishna advised them to get the bones of Dadichi. He was a pure devotee. And he didn't make a big deal of it to give his bones. No, if it's in the service of the Lord and the Lord arranges that, I accept. That's the test of a pure devotee. One of the tests how pure our devotion is. And that if there's still attachment to the body, we feel very troublesome. So these are great lessons to learn from these verses of the Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. Any question or comments or corrections, chastisements? Yes? Please? Yeah, sure. Repeat in the mic maybe.
As you mentioned that demigods are the controller of material energies, and in Bhagavad Gita we read that Krishna says that this material energy is subordinate to me. So material energy is subordinate to the demigods, or demigods is subordinate to material energy?
Okay. The point is that not a blade of grass moves in this world without the sanction of the Lord. So Krishna says also in Bhagavad Gita, those who worship these demigods, they are alpa medasa, they are less intelligence, because the benefits they get from approaching the demigods, they are factually given by me, Krishna says. They are coming from me. So Krishna also inspires the demigods to give the karmic reactions, good or bad, to living entities. And they are following these directions of the super soul. So demigods are not independent, that they are administering the effects of karma to material nature. At a certain moment, the body becomes diseased. When you are born, your karma is already predestined. But you are the happiness for the body and the distress you are going to get, it's already fixed. And the demigods, they are supplying that. Yeah, it's a great service they render. They are like ministers they have certain departments of a government. Varuna is water department, Agni is electricity and the fire and yeah, Indra is the clouds. So they have all, and they have to cooperate under the direction of the super soul. Like at Sunday feast, many times I give this funny example that, like, I want to move my hand. The desire comes up in the heart. I want to move my hand. The super soul is also in the heart and it's noticing the desires. So Krishna is in the heart. He takes the phone and calls the demigods upstairs and said, "Oh, this guy down here, he wants to move his hand. That please combine your energies, make a plan how to do that." So all these demigods have done a planning committee and they are discussing how to combine their energies. You have 33 million demigods or something. And how to combine their energies. You have the demigods who is in charge of the muscles of the upper arm and demigods who are in charge of different airs, and they make a plan, and then when they have a plan they call back to the super soul in the heart, said, "Yes, we have a plan, we think it will work." And the super soul said, yeah, okay, execute it. They execute it and then the arm moves. But all this is happening in less than a second. I desire and then my heart moves. So we think, oh, I am doing. But we are not doing. Krishna says, Prakriti Kriyamana Gunakarmana Sarvasa Ahankara Vimutatma Kartam Itimanyate. One who thinks he is the doer is a fool, because everything is done to material nature. And there are these demigods that control material nature. But that's under the direction of the super soul. They are not independent controllers. Anyway, does that help to understand it? Okay. Something else? Yeah, the back there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. One devotee here has question. I am translating his question to English.
Please?
Maharaj, I am translating Prabhuji's question to English.
Okay.
Prabhuji is asking, like, demigods are Sakam devotees. So Lord Shiva is also a demigod. So he also comes under this category.
Then you say that Lord Shiva is in a different category. That's Lord Shiva is Shiva Sakti. That it's different from the Jiva souls. That is in a special category. Is Lord Vishnu in contact with the material energy? You have Vishnu Tattva, which are all expansions of Lord Krishna, full expansions, and they have 60 qualities. Krishna has 64 qualities, 4 qualities that make him unique. Lord Brahma, who is we can say the perfect Jiva, has 50 qualities, and Lord Shiva is between, is a special category, 55 qualities. Lord Shiva is the best of the Vaishnavas, called Sambhu, because he's always thinking of Krishna. So there's a whole history. When Lord Brahma created the first created beings, the 4 Kumaras, then because he was meditating on process of liberation, that they took birth practically in the liberated position. And when Lord Brahma instructed them, please help me with my mission that I got from Lord Vishnu to populate the universe, that they said, "Niet, we cannot do that. We are already liberated. We want to stay in the form of 5-year-old children forever, so that lust does not enter our heart. We cannot enter family life." And Brahma became angry. And from his anger, 9 Rudras appeared. And one was Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, yes. And but then all these Rudras, they were born out of anger, means ignorance. They got a service to destroy the universe at the end of the creation. And they started all immediately to execute their service, but it was the beginning of creation, so Brahma got in problem there. So when he saw that, because he gave them the instruction, you have to engage in procreation, help me also to populate the universe, which they followed quite quickly, and there were soon a lot of Rudras, and they started to annihilate everything. Then Lord Brahma said, "Oh, you come all here." He said, "Now you all, I give you the instruction to meditate, to think always of Lord Vishnu. That by that your anger will subside, that you will be peaceful." So Lord Shiva is the main one of the Rudras, and he's always meditating on Lord Vishnu. Therefore, he's the greatest Vaishnava, he's the most elevated Vaishnava. That's our business, always thinking of Krishna, never forget him. But the original Lord Shiva is Sadashiva, an expansion of Lord Vishnu in the spiritual world. And Sadashiva, he enters the universe, all the universes. It's Mahavishnu. You have 3 Pururusa avatars. Karnodakashayi Vishnu, Mahavishnu. You have Karpodakashayi Vishnu and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. So he first creates the Mahavishnu creates the material elements and the universes, but he creates by his glance. By his glance, he injects the jivas, which are dormant in his body since the previous creation, and that agitates the 3 modes unmanifested. And so in the creation, you have two aspects of the creation. You have the effective and the instrumental cause of creation. You have the Lord creates just by his desire. But then, by that desire, the instrumental part comes. It's going to use material nature to create, to agitate it. So, this creation of Mahavishnu through the material nature, that's the work of Sadashiva or Shiva. And that's the function of Shiva in the creation. then it's therefore Advaitacharya, one of the 5 members of the Panchatattva, is Mahavishnu, but he represents also this agitation or creation through the material energy. And that creation of Lord Vishnu through the material energy is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is not different from Lord Vishnu, but it's different at the same time in the sense like the difference between milk and yogurt. If you add some lemon to milk, it becomes curd. And that's so the difference between Lord Vishnu and Shiva is Lord Vishnu is milk and Lord Shiva has become the curd. It's Lord Vishnu in contact with the material nature. That's the ontological position of Lord Shiva. But for us, it's Sambhu, it's the greatest Vaishnava. Does that help to understand that? Okay, so we'll stop here, it's 9 o'clock. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.